Tonight at 5, the plateau. Millions of Coloradans still need a vaccine, but it's getting harder to convince the holdouts.
I suspect there are a number of different reasons for that.
Other states are paying people. Colorado's leaders are just asking nicely.
For yourself, for your community, for your state, for your family.
Plus, the family of a woman with dementia opens up about her rough treatment at the hands of Loveland police. And in typical Colorado fashion, you can find snow, rain, hail, and sunshine today just by taking a long drive on I-70. And we begin tonight with a weather action day. Several tornado warnings popping up over the last couple of hours. Storm chasers reporting a lot of tornado-like activity in the eastern part of our state, like this land spout near Kit Carson County.
People closer to Denver might not see tornadoes, but there's a pretty good chance you're going to see some rain and hail at some point tonight. Denver7's committed to keeping you safe when the weather gets a little unstable. Mike Nelson's tracking the conditions tonight. Mike?
Hi, guys. Let me show you what's happening today. This is what it looked like earlier this afternoon from Denver City Park. Some thunderstorms moved through, then some clear sky, and now dark clouds are building again. There's a lot of activity showing up across the state at the moment. You can see this action continuing on the northeast plains as this thunderstorm activity moving to the northeast, and that's where the severe weather has been. There's a severe thunderstorm watch in effect. Sterling down to the south of Lyman until 7 o'clock tonight. These are active tornado warnings, one in Kit Carson County and the other one just to the south of Flagler at the moment. We're keeping a close watch on that because this storm is in the vicinity of Flagler. Most of these storms have been out over pretty open terrain, but if you are in the town of Flagler right at the moment, you might want to seek shelter in interior room for the next few minutes until this storm system moves through. Back here, we're getting a little more precip building now southwest of Denver in the form of rain. Later on this evening, the snow level is going to drop down to around 6,000 feet. And we'll have accumulating snow over parts of Jefferson County, Douglas County. Not a lot, a couple of inches on the grass by morning, but places like Estes Park and Netherland could be looking at a foot of wet, heavy snow coming up tonight and early tomorrow morning. So it's a wet night ahead, an active evening out in the eastern plains, and a snowy morning. But I think you're also going to like the 7-day forecast. I'll have details on that in a few more minutes.
Yeah, we'll keep checking back. Thank you. Tonight, 31% of Colorado is fully vaccinated, and CDC data shows 46% of people have received at least one shot. And those numbers are good, but they are not close to the 70% needed for herd immunity. The problem is that people who haven't gotten vaccinated aren't really making the effort to get one.
Well, tonight, our 360 coverage is focused on the vaccine slowdown. When Colorado first opened its 6 mass vaccination sites a few weeks ago, well, you'll recall you had to have an appointment to get in. As of today, every one of those clinics is open to walk-ins. Out of state, no ID, doesn't matter.
Denver's Ball Arena had 4,000 Moderna doses to give out as of 10 o'clock this morning. The Pueblo mass vaccination site had 2,000 doses. In Larimer County, 500 doses. And we asked the governor for his perspective. He says it's part skepticism, part laziness.
Well, our data and research shows that you do have the vast majority of Coloradans, upwards of 80%, are willing to get the vaccine, are interested in getting the vaccine. It's only a small percent that's actually resistant to it. But for many of them, it is a matter of hesitancy or laziness to get it.
And whatever the hurdles are, it is on state leaders to overcome them.
Denver7's Patrick Perez is taking a closer look at their plan.
For the first time since the end of March, Colorado is beginning to see declining interest in getting the COVID-19 vaccine.
It's not a resistance to vaccine issue. It is what you might call a hesitancy or laziness issue.
Data from the state's vaccine dashboard shows a little more than 339,000 Coloradans were vaccinated last week. That's a 15% decrease from the week before. The peak was a week of April 4th, when more than 412,000 Coloradans were vaccinated. Governor Jared Polis says old concerns about finding an appointment months prior may still be at play.
There's people who still think they have to spend an hour reloading web pages and it's hard to set up appointments. Guess what? It isn't. Easy to set up an appointment, and you don't even need an appointment. You can just show up and get it.
Joe Hanel with the Colorado Health Institute says health officials predicted a decline in vaccinations would happen, and it has.
We knew the supply was going to ramp up, and we knew that the people who were most interested in getting vaccinated, they now have mostly had the opportunity to do that.
Vaccine hesitancy is still real, though, especially after the reports of the rare blood clots from the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. But Joe says it's hard to say if that's stopping otherwise willing people to roll up their sleeves.
Now it's a matter of doing more outreach, and rather than people coming to you.
With vaccine buses visiting rural and underserved communities and mass vaccination sites open with no appointments necessary, if you want the vaccine, you can get it. If you talk to health officials in Colorado, the message is the same. Please do. Patrick Perez, Denver 7.
And the state's using the vaccination effort to justify lifting regulations. Check out this graph here. The counties with lower vaccination rates are on the left side of the screen. On average, they're reporting more COVID cases. The case rates are lower in counties like Jefferson, Boulder, where more than 60% of the population is vaccinated.
State doctors say there is a fourth wave happening right now. Yesterday's positivity rate was 9%. The goal, as you recall, is 5%. The state has been reporting thousands of new cases every day for more than a week now. During truly slow periods of this pandemic, we were only seeing a few hundred cases per day. And yes, this is affecting kids. Look at this chart. Case counts have leveled off among adults. The increase is among kids, mainly 11 to 17 years old.
What you see here is that we're really seeing our most rapid increase right now in the state among middle school and high school students. Their rate is much higher than what we're seeing on average for adults in the state, and that the increase we're seeing is pretty steep at this point. We're also seeing an increase in those younger children, those in that 3 to 10-year-old age group. It's not as dramatic of an increase, not as steep, but certainly seeing an increase in those age groups as well.
And as more kids get sick, more schools are landing on the outbreak list. State leaders believe middle and high schoolers will become eligible for the vaccine over the summer, which will reduce outbreaks during the next school year.
Well, the CDC said today that vaccinated Americans do not need to wear a mask outside unless they're at a big crowded event. They're still recommending masks indoors.
During a nationally televised speech today, President Biden announced the new CDC guidelines, using them as a way to try and convince people to go get vaccinated.
The bottom line is clear. If you're vaccinated, you can do more things more safely, both outdoors as well as indoors.
All right, so your turn. We want to hear from you. Do you know someone who's waiting? Is that someone you? We want to know why. Email us at 360@thedenverchannel.com.
Physically sickened and angry. Those are the words the family of Karen Gardner used to describe their emotions this week. Body cam video of the 73-year-old Gardner's arrest led to a use of force investigation at the Loveland Police Department. Jessica Porter is following the latest developments and joins us at 5. Jess?
Well, Karen Gardner's family says Loveland police treated her like an animal and say their hearts simply cannot ache anymore after watching the new booking video. And that video shows officers laughing and fist bumping each other while discussing Gardner's arrest. The 73-year-old has dementia and walked out of a Walmart with $14 worth of goods that she gave back. Body camera video shows an officer pushing Gardner to the ground 3 times within seconds of stopping her. A lawsuit claims officers dislocated her shoulder and fractured her arm, injuries officers callously joked about.
Stupid question, but I gotta ask you, reader Miranda.
The arresting officer was placed on administrative leave. Loveland police refused to comment because of a criminal investigation. The Gardner family calls that silence a slap in the face and say their mother is, quote, now fearful, distrusting, and reclusive. In a statement today, Gardner's family says they want the officers criminally charged yesterday and want city leadership that hired these individuals and fostered this culture of abuse removed. Live in the newsroom, Jessica Porter, Denver 7.
All right, Jessica, thank you. Colorado Democrats are pushing a bill which would prevent officers from arresting people for petty crimes like the one Karen Gardner was picked up for. It currently is working its way through the state Senate committees. Now, Loveland City Council is going to meet tonight again. Gardner's arrest is not on the agenda, but city councilors tell Denver7 they would like to see changes within the department moving forward.
Colorado restaurants are scrambling to apply for a piece of the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, which has set aside nearly $30 billion in pandemic relief money for U.S. restaurants. Applications open up on Monday, but restaurant owners can set up their accounts beginning Friday. Qualifying businesses can get up to $10 million in loan money, which won't have to be paid back if it's spent by March 11, 2023. The worker shortage impacting Colorado restaurants is also taking a toll on our school districts. Many districts were dealing with a bus driver shortage before the pandemic, and it's only gotten worse. Tonight, Boulder Valley schools will discuss ways to fix the problem, and it really could be as simple as money. A 2016 report showed more than half of districts believed pay was the biggest barrier to attracting more drivers. And school districts must compete for drivers within the trucking industry, where some companies are offering offering $10,000 per week to attract workers.
So a very colorful map right now. Coming up, I'll let you know which areas by morning will be covered in white.
Plus, 1 year of pandemic sports convinced some rural Colorado schools they might be better off without CHSA.
And on average, Colorado moms took a bigger financial hit during the pandemic. We'll introduce you to one business owner looking to rebound from rock bottom.
I love my job, absolutely. I love helping people. I love healing people.